Hi Theory 4, this is lesson 15, and today we are kind of jumping back to where we were at the end of last semester talking about triads. Okay, so a triad, and this was in your lesson last week, a triad is made up of 3 notes. It's a chord, okay? A chord is 3 or more notes, but a triad is a specific kind of chord. So a triad is 3 notes that are all thirds apart. It will be line, 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 or space, 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 okay? They're all thirds. Line, 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 space, space, space. Now, a major triad has between the bottom 2 notes a minor third, and then between the top 2 notes, a major third. Okay, so treble clef, bass clef, alto clef. So if we're talking about the D major triad, which you see at the top of your paper, so we know it's going to be D, space, 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 which is D, F, A. Okay? Cello's D, F, A. Viola's D, F, A. Okay, so here we have a D chord. Now this, we have to figure out from D to F sharp. I did this wrong. Ignore that, it's opposite. Major third on the bottom, minor third on the top. I should have gotten more sleep last night. Okay, so we need 4 half steps between these the bottom 2 notes, and between the top 2 notes we need 3 half steps. Okay? So in order to make a D major chord, we have to go from D to D sharp, E, F, which is the same as E sharp. That's 1, 2, 3, F sharp. 1, 2, 3, 4. So in order to have a major third here, I have to add a sharp to that note. Always figure out the bottom third first. If you figure out the top third first as a minor third, you may throw the bottom third off. So start from the root, which is the bottom note, and then count up 4 half steps. If you need to grab your instrument to do it, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fine too, okay? So we need to add a sharp for F sharp. Okay, then we need to find out if we need to add anything to the top note. So we need a minor third. So we have, so we're starting on F sharp now. F sharp, G, G sharp, A. 1, 2, 3. So we can leave A as it is because that is a minor third. Major third on the bottom, minor third on top. This is a D major triad, okay? Whoops, that's an A and a J all together. D major triad, so you have D, F sharp, A, D, F sharp, A. Now on your sheet, I explain that as string players, we don't play chords, right? Pianists play chords. They can play 3 notes at a time. Every once in a while, we'll play a chord, but there are only so many that we can play because of how our strings and fingers are. Pianists play chords all the time. That's why you need to know this. The other thing is when you're playing with other people, you're actually playing these chords. It's just each person has a note, okay? If you don't know the notes they're playing, then you just know your note. But if you can see all of them, you can find out what these chords are. Now, does that mean that these are not important to us? No, because we play these as broken chords, okay? That doesn't mean that we need to fix them. All it means is we have blocked or broken. So a broken chord, a blocked chord is when you play it all together, which we rarely do. We can do, but we rarely do it. So that's if you played all 3 of those notes together. A broken chord, so this is blocked, we would call it a chord or a triple stop, okay? D, if we play D, F sharp, A, that is a broken chord. It's where you play each of the notes individually. Bum, 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 okay? Now, most often how we play broken chords is in arpeggios, okay? Now, arpeggio takes these 3 notes from the D major triad, and then we take this root note and play it one more note up here. The same thing. So you've got root, 3rd, 5th, root. Ba-da-da-dum. And then we come back down. Da-da-da. The first arpeggio that you learned in the Suzuki literature was minuet 2. Da-da-da-da. G arpeggio right there. Okay? So these are arpeggios are just triads as broken chords or playing them as individual notes. So why do we need to know major or minor triads? Because we play them, we just play them as separate notes. Okay, so you still need to know what you're playing. So the next thing down is what note is the root? Now these may seem kind of like duh questions, but I want you to think through it, okay? Often I'll ask you kind of obvious questions and some of you overthink it. Okay, I'm asking what note is the root, and I'm pointing the note, the arrow is pointing to the root. What note is that? Just write the letter there, okay? Then what note is the 3rd? If you write F, you are wrong. Why? Because it is F sharp. F is different. If it was D to F, it actually would be a minor triad, which we're going to talk about later. So if there was a sharp or flat with one of the notes or both, any of the notes, you must write F sharp, okay? It's a little bit lazy if you don't. It also is something different. I was talking about this with Theory 1 because they do this all the time on their fingerboards. They just write C, G, F. And I was like, that would be kind of like you're asking your mom for ice cream and she just gives you ice. Or she just gives you cream. Those are different things. But ice cream is something. So F sharp, that is a spot on your fingerboard. If you just say F, that's a different spot. You're not going to get what the pitch that you need. Okay? So soapbox over. I will stop ranting. But if it says sharp or flat, write it down. Okay. The next thing is you guys are just going to do that process for different keys. Okay? So the next one I have is build a G major triad. So you have to think through, there are steps. The first step is what is up, write the notes. G, skip, skip. If it's line, 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 okay? Then second step, count the half steps. How many half steps do you need between the bottom 2 notes? You need 4 half steps. It needs to be a major third. How many half steps do you need between the top 2 notes? It's a minor third. You need 3. Once you get your major chord built, so pitches first, then half steps, add a flat or a sharp if you need it, but make sure you know your half steps, okay? Then you're going to take whatever is in that triad and write it as a broken chord or an arpeggio, okay? So you'll write whatever the note is. I'm not going to tell you. The root, the 3rd, the 5th, and then take whatever the root is and put it up an octave, okay? So then it's G, J, K, G, okay? And then you come back K, J, G. I'm not telling you the letters. That's why I'm saying J and K. Then down here, what note is the root? That is so obvious because I actually tell you.